The band will play and then we'll stay and talk until 10:45. Many months and years from now, we'll still talk about this first night. I won't soon forget when our eyes first met, or your great laugh or beautiful smile. And life is always an adventure with you, like catching a North Shore sunrise. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and happy Saturday night. Let's go! This is the David Kolar Piano Show. Tonight I will be discussing the composition, arrangement, and recording of my song Reality. But first, this. Thank you very much. Well, welcome to the David Kolar Piano Show. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Saturday night. I know I am, and I'm excited to bring some music to you, discuss some of my music, and I've got even a little bit of a surprise in store for the end of the show. Mostly I'm going to be talking about my song Reality. This is the fourth song on my debut EP, Elastic Plastic. I've gone through the first three songs and discussed the composition, recording, and arranging of those. So now, tonight, it's time for Reality. Before I get into the discussion, I'll go ahead and play it once through live. I'll play it the full studio version at the end, but I'll go ahead and play it once live here just to refresh people's memory, and we'll go from there. And actually, I just saw a comment, the world needs more music in minor keys. And that reminded me to talk about that first thing I played, which was a unfinished piece I'm working on. It's just a few different themes and ideas put together and trying to flesh it out some more. Right now, I'm just calling it Smoky Jazz in G minor. Great. So here is a Reality. 6 o'clock on the dot, time's running out for the plan that the man has made. 5:03, she'd agreed to meet him at her favorite restaurant and grab a bite to eat. They had met on the set in 2003 of a show where you know it won't work out. He'd had fun and he'd won, so she promised him her heart on national TV. And he starts to realize that she won't say hello anymore. And he starts to realize it's too late. Yes, he starts to realize that her money, her greed, and her fame are not what true love He decides, makes up his mind to find love again in the same kind of way as before. But this time he'll do right, 'cause he'll pick the winner and be with her for the rest of their lives. Her name's Sally, she's from Cali, up by LA. She's the best, beat the rest to win his heart that day. But now he has found that he only hangs out with starstruck girls and never has time for his future wife. And he starts to realize that he won't say hello anymore. And he starts to realize it's too late. Yes, he starts to realize that his money, his greed, and his fame are not what true love takes.
Thank you. So the song Reality, I wrote back in 2011-ish, back when I was in college. It was the first song that I completed both the lyrics and the music for. I wrote the lyrics in about 15 minutes in one of the practice rooms at Minnesota State University Moorhead, where I went to college. And it just the lyrics just sort of flowed out of me. And I'll get to the lyrics and what they mean. Not a very deep song, but the song is in the key of A major, and it is in 4/4 time for the most part. I think there might be a couple weird 6/8 measures, but it's mostly in 4/4 time. As far as the song form, it's pretty basic. It's an intro, a verse, chorus, there's an instrumental break, another verse, a chorus, and an outro. So nothing too complicated, keeping it pretty simple on this one. So I think I'll go next. Oh yeah, just talking about the creation of it for a little bit. So I wrote this song in college, and eventually started playing it for some of my classmates, some of my fellow music majors, and it sort of became a minor hit amongst my friends and classmates. And I think that especially that first line, 6 o'clock on the dot, sort of became infamous. And there was a number of people who kind of fell in love with it, I guess. And there's a vocal part in the original recording I did back in college that I think they really latched on to. It's a background vocal that goes, ooh, da, 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 which I cut from decided to leave that out of the final studio version that I released. But they really latched onto that as well. And there was a few people who really wanted to do covers of it, including a heavy metal cover. And some other things, but I'll actually play one of the covers that was done by my friend Bennett. It's an acoustic guitar cover, guitar and vocals. I think he did a really nice job with it, so I'll play that towards the end. I have a question, 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.? 6 p.m., 6 o'clock on the dot, time's running out, yeah. So they're going to meet at a restaurant, so I suppose it could be for breakfast, but in my mind it's 6 p.m., but I guess it's all in the eyes of the listener, so if you want it to be 6 a.m., more power to you. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and read the lyrics and talk about just a couple things in there that I want to point out, especially. So here are the lyrics. 6 o'clock on the dot, time's running out, for the plan that the man has made. 5:03, she'd agreed to meet him at her favorite restaurant and grab a bite to eat. They had met on a set in 2003 of a show where you know it won't work out. He'd had fun and he'd won, so she promised him her heart on national TV. And he starts to realize that she won't say hello anymore, and he starts to realize this too late. And he starts to realize that her money, her greed, and her fame are not what true love takes. He decides, makes up his mind to find love again in the same kind of way as before. But this time he'll do right because he'll pick the winner and be with her for the rest of their lives. Her name's Sally, she's from Cali, out by L.A. She's the best, beat the rest to win his heart that day. But now he has found that he only hangs out with starstruck girls and never has time for his future wife. And he starts to realize that he won't say hello anymore, and he starts to realize this too late. Yes, he starts to realize that his money, his greed, and his fame are not what true love takes. So pretty surface level lyrics. There's not really too much deep there besides, fame and riches doesn't necessarily make you a good person or make you happy. Kind of going through a couple spots in the lyrics that I want to point out. 6 o'clock on the dot, time's running out, for the plan that the man has made. 5:03, she'd agreed. That's a super weird time to agree to meet somewhere, but I found it worked well with the lyrics, so I always get a chuckle out of that. And then, she'd agreed to meet him at her favorite restaurant and grab a bite to eat. They had met on a set in 2003, so I just kind of picked that year. It just seemed to work well with the lyrics and float off the tongue naturally. And it's definitely about reality dating TV shows. The first verse is basically The Bachelorette, where you've got the woman looking for the man. And then the second verse is the man looking for the woman. But the first verse being about the Bachelorette, I just kind of randomly picked 2003, and then after writing the song, found out that the first season of The Bachelorette was in 2003. So, cool coincidence there. And then, yeah, like I said, it kind of shifts perspectives in a way in the second verse. It's, about the guy trying to show, oh yeah, this is how you do it. This is how you make this true love thing work on a reality dating TV show. And suffice it to say, it doesn't really work out for our character here. Yeah, I think that's really all I've got to say on the lyrics. If anybody has any questions on lyrics, definitely feel free to pop those in the chat. As far as the music, before I get into kind of the arrangement and what's going on with all the different instruments that are happening, just to talk briefly about the chords and the piano part. Like I said, it's written in A major. It's a fairly straightforward chord progression. But one thing I want to point out is there is a pedal tone effect going on in for the left hand, staying on that A, as the right hand is changing chords. So I'm just doing arpeggios in the right hand is what this song is really built off of. So in the right hand, it's basically an A major chord in first inversion, meaning instead of the A being on the bottom in the right hand, it's the C. This would be in first inversion. So I'm in second inversion. And then the left hand is holding down that A. And then the right hand changes to D, E, A, B. I'm not honestly sure what that chord is, but what I wanted to point out is the A stays the same in the left hand. So you've kind of got this tension building as the left hand is just kind of staying there. Then we go back to the A. And a little bit of tension there. And eventually it switches to the F sharp. And goes on from there. But yeah, similar to what was going on in Elastic Plastic, if anybody heard my discussion on that, there's a pedal tone effect going on in that as well. So yeah, just kind of that tension and release being part of this song as well. So I'm going to next talk about, as far as arrangement, there's so much you can do with arranging a song, what instruments are playing, what instruments aren't playing, when they're playing, when they're not. Then I'm going to, there'll be like a total of 3 different ways this song has been arranged over time. The original college recording, the final studio version, and then, like I said, the arrangement that my friend Bennett did with acoustic guitar and just vocals. And so I'm going to play the college version, and I'll just kind of point out a few differences. It's arranged quite a bit differently, and the production is quite a bit different. This version has piano, bass, drums, vocals, and those background vocals I was talking about earlier. And then there's an organ part in there as well, which I changed to strings in the final studio version. But we'll go ahead and give this, I won't play the whole thing, but we'll give this as much of a listen. And I might jump around a little bit. So here's the original college recording, and this version starts out with piano solo, and then eventually the drums and bass come in after the vocals sung half a verse, basically. So here's that.
6 o'clock.
A bit faster than the final version.
Time's running out for the plan that the man has made. 5:03.
I also want to point out
to meet him at her favorite restaurant.
There's some pretty thick vocal doubling,
A bite to eat.
which is definitely a choice.
They met on the set in 2003 of a show where it won't
So
work
now we get
out.
drums and bass to come in.
He'd had fun and he'd won, so she promised him her heart on national TV. He decides, makes up his mind.
A little bit of organ in here now.
In the same kind of way as before.
So I'll stop it there. It basically goes on from there. Very similar. And yeah, so you could hear those backing vocals, ooh da da da. And I got a couple questions in the chat. Are the drums synthesized on the college version? They are not. They are real drums played by my friend Andy. My friend Scott was on the bass. I don't honestly remember if it was an actual B3 Hammond organ on this version or if it was just the synthesized organ sound. I know I had done some recording with the B3, but I don't remember if that's what's in this version or not. And then Bennett says this version is the jam. Yep, like I said, it was pretty popular in college. So the new studio version, I changed up a bit and start out this one with just solo drums. And these are, in this version, when I recorded this EP, I was working all with my own stuff. And since I don't play drums well enough for this kind of thing and don't play bass at all, I just used synthesized drums and bass. I think it sounds all right. Definitely not like real drums and bass, but it works. And so I'll go ahead and play a little bit of this version, and I'll talk over it. So again, it starts out with just the drums, and eventually the piano comes in right here, although this is the backing track, so no piano. And the bass comes in, I think where it does in the college version, like kind of halfway through the first verse. There's that. And the whole arrangement of this version is it really builds all the way to the end. So again, we start out with just drums, we add piano, then the bass comes in, then we add some backing vocals. During the instrumental break, we add in strings. During the start of the second verse, we add in a synthesizer lead. There's also a synthesizer pad starting in the instrumental break. There's also in the second verse, there's a background vocal that my friend Tamra recorded. That's not in the backing tracks that I used to play it live, but you'll hear it in the final studio version. And she did a great job recording that vocal. So you can hear the strings coming in here now. And then I think there's just some more thicker harmonies during the last chorus. And I'll play some of these isolated strings and synth parts because I think they're kind of neat to hear on their own. And then, really it's just this slow build from the beginning and kind of gets to a point where it's this like wall of sound at the end, a la like Phil Spector, who was a big producer back in the 60s and was known for what they called the wall of sound, which is thick reverb and just really lush arrangements. Did you auto-tune the college version? Probably. I don't honestly. I know when I recorded it at college, and we had access to Melodyne, which it's like Autotune. It's just a different name. Autotune is technically the brand or the brand name. And we had a program called Melodyne. I doubt it was Melodyne there though, because I ended up having my friend Tyler mix it. And he was out in LA when he mixed it. They were probably auto-tuned. But then, they're doubled and tripled, I think, throughout the song. So, and then what were some of the reasons for the changes that were made from the college version to the final version? I think I wanted to give it a lot of energy right off the bat. And I believe where the idea to like do the drums and like start out with drums and then bring the piano in, if memory serves me, my recording laptop was in the shop for a bit, and so I was trying to do some demos on an iPad with GarageBand, and I wanted to, instead of just having like a strict click, like click, 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 click to play along to, I wanted more of like an actual drum beat. So I threw a drum beat in that was very similar to what this is. And I liked it so much that I decided to kind of keep that. And I felt strings maybe worked a little bit better than organ, and I feel a little bit more comfortable making a passable sounding string part versus an organ part. I think I'm maybe a little bit better with some organ stuff now, but definitely back when I was recording this, I wasn't as comfortable. So I think those were some of the changes. And there's actually a synth part. The synth part in the college version, which I don't think we got to, ended up being the synth part in the final version as well. So that did carry over, which I think is kind of fun. All right, so now I'm going to play a few of the isolated parts here. Give me a second to close out of a couple things. Where are we at time? Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. And where am I at here? There we go. All right, so I've got a few isolated tracks. There's a synth pad that starts in the instrumental break after the first chorus. Yeah, so there you can hear it. Oh boy. There we go. Okay, here we go. So this starts right at the instrumental break, and it's a sort of softer synth sound. Your drum intro is reminiscent of Bullet the Blue Sky by U2 off the Joshua Tree album. Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that, but that's a great song and a great intro, so I appreciate you making that connection. So that's the synth pad that's going through the instrumental break and the verse, and then we get to a bit of a harsher sounding, or brighter maybe is the right word, synth pad in the chorus. That's what this sounds like. And then here's the synth lead part. I'll play a little bit of this. We'll hear all this together. I'll just play a little bit of each thing so you get an idea and can maybe pick it out in the arrangement a bit better. And this starts in the second half of the second verse. And I believe all those synth sounds are coming off of actually this keyboard. This is a Roland VR09. It's got some organ controls and synth controls and pretty versatile little keyboard. And then finally I'll play the strings. So we've got a cello part, a viola part, and then 2 violin parts. And again, these are all synthesizer strings. Here we go. So this should be all the parts. So this is, again, the instrumental break. Whoops, you heard a little bit of Bennett's version there. That's not supposed to be in there. I was wondering why it sounds so weird. One more time on this. Okay, here we go. This should be a lot better. I'll bring in a synth pad. Then you hear the lead synth. So here you go, some of that lush arranging there at the end. And with that being said, I think I'll play Bennett's version now. So again, this is just kind of goes to show you how arrangement can really influence and, yeah, really provide a different feel and different contexts for the same song, same set of lyrics and chords. So I think this is a really... Dominic likes listening to the isolated synth lead. That's awesome. Dominic is my son, so I'm glad he likes that. So yeah, here's Bennett's version, acoustic, guitar, and vocals. Recorded, I think, right around the time I wrote this song, just on a little handy recorder he had. I think it sounds pretty good.
6 o'clock on the dot, time is running out for the plan that the man has made. 5:03, she'd agree to meet him at a favorite restaurant to grab a bite to eat. They had met on the set of 2003 of a show where you know it won't work out. He'd have fun, he's the one. So she promised him her heart on national TV. And he starts to realize that she won't say hello anymore. And he starts to realize too late. And he starts to realize that her money, her fame, and her greed are not what true love would take. He decides, makes up his mind to find love again in the same kind of way as before. But this time he'll do right, 'cause he'll pick the winner and be with her for the rest of their lives. Her name's Sally, she's from Cali, out by LA. She's the best, beat the rest, win his heart that day. But now he has found that he only hangs out with starstruck girls and never has time for his future wife. And he starts to realize that he won't say hello anymore. And he starts to realize too late. And he starts to realize that his money, his fame, and his greed are not what true love would take. Oh, 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 oh.
we go. Good job, Bennett. And yes, very wicked fretwork, Bennett. All right, and without further ado, here is the final studio version of Reality. 6 o'clock on the dot, time's running out for the plan that the man has made. 5:03, she'd agreed to meet him at her favorite restaurant and grab a bite to eat. They had met on the set in 2003 of a show where you know it won't work out. He'd had fun and he'd won, so she promised him her heart on national TV. And he starts to realize that she won't say hello anymore. And he starts to realize it's too late. Yes, he starts to realize that her money, her greed, and her fame, but not what true love takes. He decides, makes up his mind to find love again in the same kind of way as before. But this time he'll do right, 'cause he'll pick the winner and be with her for the rest of their lives. Her name's Sally, she's from Cali, out by LA. She's the best, beat the rest to win his heart that day. But now he has found that he only hangs out with starstruck girls and never has time for his future wife. And he starts to realize that he won't say hello anymore. And he starts to realize it's too late. Yes, he starts to realize that his money, his greed, and his fame, but not what true love takes. All right, thank you. Hope you enjoyed Reality, the studio version. So I have a little surprise, something I'm going to try tonight, and if it goes well, hopefully continue it on in coming weeks. So back in 2020, at the start of the pandemic, I ended up going and living with my now wife's parents and her, just because, I was otherwise just living alone. So it was nice to be around some people. But what I started to do during that time, just to get some creativity out there, is I brought this keyboard along, and there's a looping function on here where you can loop up to, I think it's 20 seconds, and then add things and overdub. And I started a project where every day I would sit down and create a loop. And it might take me 5 minutes, it might take me half an hour, but just something to keep the creative brain working and maybe unlock some things, some musical ideas that I might not have unlocked otherwise just sitting down at a piano. And it was really a lot of fun. I did that for a few months maybe, and have a lot of the recordings still saved. Some of them may turn into more fleshed out songs at some point. None of them I don't think have yet. So what I wanted to try to do tonight is do a live loop on the stream. Hopefully it goes well. And hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully it won't take too long. Just try to throw something together really quick. Don't know where this is going to go, but I'm going to start out with just a drum loop and then start to add some stuff in from there. So hope you enjoy. All right, here we go. Feels like I could use some electric piano on top. enjoyed that. Thanks. And Bennett loves that FM EP tone. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So thanks for indulging me in that. I think it went pretty well. And I'll end up saving that, so maybe that'll turn into a song someday. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for joining me. I've got one more song. Before I play that, just want to plug a couple things. My next live stream will be August 11th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. That's a Friday night, just under 3 weeks from now. If you want to keep updated with these streams, you can follow me, like my page on Facebook. That's David Kolar Music. You can also follow me, like and subscribe on YouTube. That's at David Kolar Music on YouTube as well. And I'll throw up the YouTube link there on screen. There it is. And yeah, again, if you have any other questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. If I don't get to them on live here, I'll definitely make sure to stay on for a minute or two and answer any last minute questions you might have. And again, thank you so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, don't be afraid to share the word and let other people know. And hopefully we'll just continue to grow this and have more fun live streaming. So this last song I'm going to play is called Hymn for Morning. It is an instrumental piano piece I wrote a number of years ago. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you had fun and enjoyed the music. I'll see you next time.